As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just
good afternoon, everyone. You're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Today, Crystal, what do we have going on today?
Oh, wow. This whole month, we're going to tackle tax reform, the tax reform bill, and how it affects our small businesses.
That's what I'm talking about.
Our nonprofits, just basically. So we have some great guests that are going to be coming on, sharing their wisdom. So I reached out to all my CPA people.
That's right.
And so we got Miss Cozette White today. She's on her way in, so she's going to share because some of the changes are going to highly affect us. We need to have a strategy. And we need to know how to maneuver it. And then I saw something yesterday, and I don't know all the details, but state of California, we've become gorillas, man. So we, from what I heard, we're going to do some restructuring of the state tax. So instead of paying, I think this is how I read it, and Cozette will be able to clarify it when she comes in. So what I hear, and I hear that it happens in other states, so instead of paying state taxes, you're going to donate to the state.
So you pay whatever you want to pay?
Well, I don't know if you're going to pay whatever you want to pay, but you're going to donate to the state because they put no limits on the contribution and charitable contribution deductions. Why? Because that's what rich white people are going to do anyway, right? So they wanted to make sure that that's open for them because they'll put all their money, like Donald Trump. Yeah. He donates to his own organizations and then take the money back, make them pay for an event and get the money back, right? So that's what I hear the state of California is talking about doing.
So I want to learn that process.
Right, exactly. See, we got to learn how to because technically they pay. I mean, they really don't pay any taxes at all. Right. They loop everything back into it, interest. Wow. So I think we need to have some stocks. Let me see. Cozette she is here. Okay. So we need to have some stocks because what they do is they write off, it becomes interest and not profit, but interest from their stock capital, their capital gain. So we got to learn how to do things the way they do.
Well, for sure.
Well as increasing our net worth and our revenues up to that factor.
We're going to have to step up our game.
Right. So $250,000, $500,000, and then we will not be paying taxes either.
That's
so I don't know who's supposed to be paying it, but that's what's supposed to happen. Yep. So Happy New Year. This is our very first show of 2018.
That's right.
And so it's going, I feel there's a lot of things about to happen. Yeah. And so 2018 is going to be pretty amazing.
That is great. And for those of you who are just tuning in to the Business Zone, the Business Zone is a platform where entrepreneurship is brought together with supplier diversity in order to assist you in obtaining contract and helping you to become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. We also want to help you to become more successful. So that's the mission of our Business Zone here today, and we really want to help all of you small businesses. So far, we've been helping a few small businesses become successful. We had our mastermind program, Crystal, and that program has been helping about 10 small businesses, and that's what we choose to do. We select 10 businesses, and we work with them at a time. So right now, these businesses are getting ready to graduate from the program. And what they'll do, they'll also obtain 2 certifications, small business certifications, so they can go out and get contracts. And we want to encourage them to obtain a contract and at least $50,000, Crystal.
Right, exactly. So we can make some major changes. In fact, on my way here, a lady called me. She had, Facebook is kind of funny. They've changed their algorithms again.
Yeah.
And so really, you're kind of seeing the same kind of information that may have floated through months ago.
Yeah.
So she called me. She goes, "Oh my God, I just saw a flyer that you guys are had a mastermind group meeting, and it was in October. I'm not quite sure why I'm receiving the flyer." I said, "Well, I boosted the ad, and Facebook is doing me the favor to put it back out there." I said, "But you have called the right place because we are going to be having another class in a couple in February." So she's all excited, and she's an activist in the city. So good. One of the things that they do is they guide businesses like we do to take them to the next level. So really powerful ladies. So she's going to send us some people.
Excellent.
So we should be so full and so busy next year.
Yeah, well, this year.
This year. Because I think possibly we're waking up.
That's great. Well, I don't think we're waking up because we're already awoke. What happened is people are beginning to pay attention.
Yeah.
They're beginning to pay attention to what we've been putting out there. So
I think so, because we're starting, which is good. That means that the seeds that we planted are working, and that's the way they're supposed to be. That's what's supposed to happen, right? So we planted the seeds, and we just had to water it and nurture it, and so now people are coming to us. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So before the show, I was telling you I can't wait to after the show because I'm going to get my book, Fire and Fury, because I want to read. They said that book is already made #1. And it went on sale at 9:00 this morning.
Well,
so
I'm sure it's going to be #1 for a few months.
Yeah, because he done towed the dirt, and the idiot moron is about to come unglued, and so. Because they doing some crazy stuff. Yesterday, Sessions came through and okay, we're not, the federal government, we're rescinding all cannabis. What the? Yeah. And the Congress people said, "Are you nuts?" No. State of California said, "Look, man, we about to get paid."
See, they're talking about alternative facts. This is alternative funding.
Right. He said, "We about to get paid. You are not taking away the billions of dollars the state of California about to make."
No, not at all.
So we're going to have to do our own stuff. We're going to have to just forget you guys and do our own thing. So,
and for those of you who are just tuning in, our phone number here is 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375. And if you didn't know, now you know. Our program is sponsored wholly by Recycling Black Dollars. If you don't know what Recycling Black Dollars is, well, Crystal, you want to tell them a little bit about Recycling Black Dollars?
So Recycling Black Dollars is an organization that's been in our community for 30 years, and our whole sole purpose is to bring our businesses together to help us increase the economic status of our community, to be the consciousness to help you recognize that you're supposed to support your own first and keep your dollars in our community more than 6 hours, and just be about us. I was telling someone this morning that when you step away from what's going on, has been going on in our country since the election, the one thing that the takeaway should be the individuals that are fighting back are fighting because they think, and it's all perception, that they're in danger, right? Yeah. So they're fighting with everything they have, whatever tactics and strategies that they can come up with. They're fighting with that, right? Because they feel that now they're the persecuted group of people. So our takeaway should be, if they're fighting that hard for their survival and they're not even in jeopardy, what should we be doing in our conditions when we are in jeopardy?
And our backs are against the wall, so we should be scrapping.
We should be fighting just as hard, if not harder, than they are, because we are really the ones, because whatever laws that take effect anywhere, undoubtedly the black community or the minority communities are going to be the ones that's going to suffer.
Yes, so really, really small businesses, women-owned business, minority business, we really want to pay attention to what's going on. You really want to step up your game. 2018 is really a dog-eat-dog year. So you want to step up your game. Get out there. Become business ready, contract ready, compliance ready. You want to make sure your business is compliant ready. And our guest today is going to be talking about how this tax reform system, I call it the tax system. I'm not going to say what the other word is. But that guest is going to talk about how you can explore how that system may impact your business. And that's something you really, really want to think about. The next sponsor of the show is Small Biz Pro, which is Small Biz Pro is a business management, compliance, procurement assistance, and market research assistance system that helps small businesses to store and upload their documents all in one place so they can become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. And those are the things that we do for you, small business. And our third and most important sponsor, Crystal, is
Department of General Services,
State of California. So they are sponsoring this program because they want to help you small businesses to foster yourselves and become business ready so you can become registered in their system, become certified as a small business or a veteran-owned business so you can start obtaining contracts. Now, the State of California is a leading agency dedicated to promoting small business and disabled veteran business enterprises in terms of contracts. Now, they have procured over $8 billion, $8 to $10 billion in contracts. 25% of that has been set aside for small business, Crystal.
Right.
25% of that.
And for our businesses, that's definitely a gateway to taking their businesses, taking them to that next level, because it gives you contractual business versus transactional business.
Exactly.
And so you can you can hire people, you can take advantage of any tax benefits from the fact that you're hiring, your job training and apprenticeship programs and so forth. So it's really an amazing way, especially when we have challenges, credit challenges, and we have can't get bank
revenue
loans, revenue challenges, collateral challenges.
Yeah.
So this is a good way, and you don't have to come out being the general contractor.
Right.
You can be the subcontractor while you're building your infrastructure.
Exactly.
So then getting yourself ready to become that general. So that's just some of the things that we need to think about in order to position ourselves in a better place, right? Because you have to sit down and have conversations with yourself is, okay, how do I increase my revenues? That should be January 1st conversation, right? You really should have been having that conversation in October, November, December.
Yeah.
Okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to increase my revenue? Do I need to increase my sales? If I do that, am I going to have to hire people? What are the actions that I'm going to have to do? And better than that, just putting it down on paper so you can manifest it into fruition, right?
What it is.
But if you are looking at doing the same business that you been always doing for the last 10, 15, 20 years, if it hasn't worked and you haven't reached that threshold of what you would consider successful and financially, economically successful, then maybe it's time to get a new game plan. So here we are offering you opportunities, walking you through the process so that you can look at a better horizon.
And that's exactly what we do here on the Business Zone. So really, we'd love for you to give us a call if you have any questions today at 323-293-3375. That's 323-293-3375, the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert Buchanan. And I want you to really take us up. Challenge us. Give us a challenge. Call us and say, hey, you know what? I'm having this problem in my business. How can I resolve it? Give us a call. You're getting free consulting here.
Right, exactly. So I read an article yesterday, and I want to share it with our audience. Warren Buffett, who is the third richest man, according to Forbes, in this in the world.
You mean my godfather?
Your godfather. He's the third richest person in the world. He has a net worth of $86 billion.
Wow.
So he's been kind of quiet of late, but after the tax bill was passed, he indicated that, and this is his exact statement, Warren Buffett on the U.S. economy, the tsunami of wealth didn't trickle down, it surged upward.
It will not trickle down. That's right. It wasn't designed
It wasn't designed to do that. So what he says that between the first computation in 1982 and today, the wealth of the 400 increased. This is the Forbes list of 400 wealthiest people in the world, right? Increased 29-fold.
Wow.
He said from $93 billion to $2.7 trillion, while many of the millions of hardworking citizens remain stuck on an economic treadmill.
Wow.
During this period, the tsunami of wealth didn't trickle down; it surged upward. And he says, with the middle class and the lower class, the workers have been replaced by technology, advancements, robotics, and so forth. We didn't go back to school to learn new technologies and new strategies on how to do business. And he says, so if we don't do that, if you don't realize that whatever took place in 1980 is not going to make money, is not going to be effective in 2018.
That's true.
So you need to go out and get educated. You need to take online courses, inline courses, in-class courses, get a mentor, take workshops that organizations are giving so that you can better equip and better plan because they will be left out.
That's right.
Because the wealthy, all the opportunities are always there for them. It's us that we see an opportunity and we don't grasp it.
Yeah, we see the opportunity. And even though it says opportunity, we still don't see it as opportunity. We're going, oh, this looks like a challenge to me. This looks like something threatening.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's opportunity. It's in big block letters. Opportunity. And we're going, in fact, we got someone that complimented us on the Business Zone on the show that we did last week with Bonita Williams and Virgil. Yeah. He really enjoyed the show, and there was a couple comments that she made that he said, I marked this to keep going back here. Yeah. So he was really impressed. But then today he texts me and he says, I got a question, and this is not a negative question. And he says, but if you are of the religious mindset, how do you wrap around the cannabis industry? How do you kind of get involved in that? And I haven't answered him yet because I just saw it before I came in.
Well, it's kind of good that he's asking that because back in the beginning of time, what we had available to us was herbs. That's all we had, herbs. We had plants, vegetation. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't a negative thing back then. It's certain people who came in and tried to criminalize it to make it look like something negative.
Right.
Because they wanted to control the resources for themselves. And that's how the society is, that individuals who want to keep resources to themselves, they try to make other things look negative to others, so they'll stay away from it and they won't get involved. This is not a negative thing. This is healing people. This is healing people with cancer, Mercer's disease, and all of those types of things, as our guest on the last show stipulated.
Exactly.
So to me, this is not a negative thing. I mean, whether you're religious or you're anything else, you should see this for its real, true value.
And if you stop to think about it from a standpoint of being an African American descendant from Africa, that's exactly how our ancestors treated themselves.
When we got sick, there was no doctor.
There was no synthetic medication anywhere. You went out into the bush and you got some kind of bark and you ground it up.
You made a tea or something. Because I remember back in Jamaica when we got sick, we didn't go to the doctor. Just go into our garden and we get some herbs or some vegetation. We make tea with it or whatever we need to do. and it healed us.
Right.
Like right now senna, you've heard of senna, right? That's been within our society for the longest time, but now recently, because big pharmaceutical is getting involved in this, all of a sudden senna is like the cure-all and this great thing. We've had this.
Right.
We have senna planted in our gardens.
Right, exactly.
I mean? Then we've got this other thing called like cerasee tea. That purifies your blood.
Right.
And we drink that like every other morning, because you can't drink it every day. You know that.
Right.
You know, it will mess up your system. But every other morning, and it purifies your blood.
Right.
You know, so I don't get why.
Well, because again, it's that mind therapy that they use against you, right? So, you know, from a religious standpoint, they are only thinking about the herb, the smoking part. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so I've pulled up here in 6000 BC, cannabis seeds and oils was used for food in China.
Exactly.
In 4000 BC, textiles made of hemp was used in China and Turkey. Turkey. So this has been going on for 10,000s of years, way before people start smoking it. But it was used as an herb, and actually, the core of every synthetic drug out there is from some plant, because that's what the American Indians, the Native Indians, that's what they use. That's where it came from, and that came from our culture. That came from Africa. So if you go to Africa or any of those villages, you're right. There is no doctor on the corner. There's no health insurance there for them. So they go. And in China, you have your traditional Eastern doctor, Chinese doctor, and then you have your Western doctor who relies on machines and synthetic drugs. But they treat with ginseng and how you eat.
That's what I'm saying, those natural herbs. And that's what really makes this thing work. Now, this person, you know, and I really want them to look into this and follow the history of it and check it out before, you know, making judgment calls on this. My thing is the synthetic drugs. Most of those synthetic drugs that you take have side effects, the tremendous side effects that, you know, you can lose an arm, you can lose your kidney, you can die, you can have seizures. But you're not hearing that kind of side effects from this product.
No,
you're not hearing that.
I mean, it always blows me away when they got in fact, it was so funny. After Bo was on the show and I came home and I was listening, and there was the commercial with the psoriasis. And right after they got through, she could wear a shirt and her sleeves are out, which was the conversation we had, right? Then right below that, but you could lose your kidney. Your liver could corrode. You might have to have a liver. Blind. You can go blind. You have a heart attack. Your blood. What the heck?
You see what I'm saying?
So I can wear sleeves? No.
So, I mean, no matter your persuasion, your religious or your beliefs or anything, I mean, that you should look at outcomes, look at results, instead of saying, well, because of my religious belief, it doesn't allow me to do this. Well, your religious belief shouldn't allow you to take synthetic drugs either.
No, right? Because now that we have the opiate epidemic, that is no longer a drug problem, but a health issue, a mental health and dependency issue, right? But that oxycodone was something that your doctor prescribed for you that you got hooked on, or the Vicodin that you got hooked on. And there's been more deaths from that than there has been from marijuana. And if there has been death from marijuana, it's because it hasn't been regulated. And those deaths are coming from individuals that are laced that drug with something that is deadly. But if you're regulating the industry, that will prevent you from that particular drug from being toxic with some other additive to make it stronger or what have you, because you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're putting on it or growing it with, or what fertilizers or insecticides. You
know what's amazing? So let's say this person is against alcohol, right? Which I'm sure this person probably isn't. But back in my day, what my family did, my parents and you know, her parents before her, what she did, she got some alcohol, and you get a scorpion, you put that together if you have an ailment like,
oh my Lord, a scorpion?
Yes. and then you rub that on your system, I'm telling you, your pain goes away.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, because see, that's how they...
You see what I'm saying? You don't have to go to the doctors and get any medication, any synthetic drugs or anything. You just use the alcohol with that because it stays in there and it ferments. Mm-hmm. And it stays in there for, you do it for like a week. Let it sit there and ferment, and then you rub it on your system if you have any pain and ailments in your arms, your legs, your joints. And I'm telling you, within a couple of days, it's gone.
Yeah, a lot of the islanders, and like I said, the Chinese and the other cultures.
Yes.
So we're really the only one that's completely dependent upon drugs.
Yeah.
You know, I've always been about the fact that if I eat well and there's so many herbs that you can use, you don't have to take blood pressure medication and insulin.
Right.
You eat right,
yes.
and you take care of yourself and you exercise. You know, if there's a proclivity in your family for that, then, you know, you obviously have to deal with that. But even then, I still think it's about how there's teas. So there's so many things.
There's so many things out there. So
right. So it's a natural. So that's the answer to that. Yeah. Mr. Jet, I think his last name is Jet. I'm going to respond to him.
Yeah.
But I do know that and then on the economic side, so you look at it, what is the monies, the taxes going to go toward? They're going to go toward job training. The social enterprise or equity piece of this is making sure that our young people are going to be educated. We can't come out of this place that we're in if our kids don't realize that they're free and that they have opportunities, and that today, for example, in the class, you know, I don't just teach people how to do QuickBooks. It's a whole bunch of other stuff that go along with it, right? That's right. So these people, right, we only been with them, this is the second day. Yeah. They're like, oh my God. So I'm talking about financial literacy. Yeah. And I like to take and compare bookkeeping and the principles of bookkeeping to how they get their own money. So when I'm making an analogy, I'll say, okay, let's talk about cash flow. So here's what happens. You get paid. That's your revenue. Then you have expenses. And some of them are fixed. And so I was like, oh, what's your fix? Your rent, your if you're buying a house, your mortgage, your insurance, your car payment. And they're like, wow. I said, now those same expenses, see on this chart of account, exact same expenses over here in this business. Yeah. So you are actually doing bookkeeping at home. Yeah, exactly. And if you have children, you really are doing bookkeeping because you have to learn how to budget so you don't have more muff at the end of your revenue stream because you only got one.
That's right.
So let's talk about what we need to do to take that to the next level to increase that. So that's why you're sitting in this class is so that we can increase your revenue stream, your income. They're like, oh my God. Eye-opening. One girl told me. And so then yesterday, on Wednesday when I had it, I correlated with, they were trying to understand, supply and demand. Yeah. And I told him, I said, so here's the deal. Told him about gasoline. Yeah. And I told him about, how the prices go up, fluctuating, and nothing banking, it ain't banked on nothing. Yeah. And then groceries. If you go to the grocery store, I said, so here's why it's important that you vote. And they're like, why? I said, so, majority of everyone in the class is Hispanic. I said, so what will happen if DACA actually, if they rescind that? Okay? They export every immigrant out of this country back to wherever they feel they're going to send them back to, right? Yeah. I said, so if we can't pick the vegetables and the fruit, and there's a group of people they've decided that's their job, and they're not there, what's going to happen to the fruit? Yeah. And so one young lady, she goes, it's going to rot. I said, so what's going to happen to the prices? She went, I said, because... She goes, oh, my God, they're going to go up. And I said, yeah, they're going to go up. Yeah. If they can't be picked, they're going to go up.
That's right.
And if there's weather or the farms burn because of the weather, because of the environment, what's going to happen? She goes, the prices are going to go up. She goes, okay, I'm woke. So now I got them like, they're at attention. I came back when I was going to leave to come to the show. When you said, oh, I went to the store at break. I brought you a drink because I thought you might be thirsty. university before you got to class. They're like, whoa, because that's how we need to, this
Now
is a
they're paying
conversation
attention.
we need to
That's
have
the type
with
of
our
thing.
young people
That's
so
the type
that
of
they
thing.
can tie it in to their household.
Exactly. And that type of knowledge is withheld from many of us in the women and minority environments. It's not there. So that's why it's our responsibility, Crystal, to go out there as advocates to make sure that we educate these younger folks and small businesses as well.
Right.
They're going to come kicking and screaming and resisting. They will, but we got to keep doing it.
We have to keep doing it.
Eventually, they'll see it.
You have to, because if we don't get control, and we have to be the ones to get our own control. Because everybody right now fighting for themselves. They ain't got time. They could care less than little black children not being educated. They don't care about that. They don't care about little Latino children. They don't even want them in the country. They don't care about that.
They don't care
so
at all.
that is up to us, and that is about us. And then I think and I know we're going to go to break, there was an African guy that recently I heard speaking on a YouTube channel. He goes, we are all black. We all came from the continent of Africa. Whether I was born in Nigeria or whether you were born in Nigeria and transported here, we are all black. We need to all come together, put all that stuff to the side, and become one whole black people from the continent of Africa and do what we're supposed to do for our group of people.
Let's keep knocking on that door.
Yes, so that's what we're going to do. So now that we've gotten off our soapbox, we're ready for our guests.
So for those of you who are just tuning in, you're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and we are truly your advocate. I mean, what we're saying here is just to get you aware of some of the things that you need in order to make that step to the next level. Our phone number here is 323-293-3375, 323-293-3375. And on the other side of the break, Crystal, we're going to bring in our guest.
We certainly are. Miss the money doctor, the money coach. She's going to come in and talk about tax reform and how it's going to affect you.
We want to hear about this money.
Yes, we are.
So let's take a break.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Umoja.
Unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Kujitakalia.
Self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves instead of being defined, named, created for, and spoken for by others.
Ujima.
Collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together and make our sisters and brothers' problems our problems and to solve them together.
Ujama.
Cooperative economics to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and profit from them together.
Nia.
Purpose to make our collective vocation in the building and developing our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness.
Kumba.
Creativity to do always as much as we can in order to leave our community more.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Krista.
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And Crystal, today, who do we have as our very, very special guest?
We have the money doctor in the studio, Miss Cozette White. She is coming in to talk to us about the tax reform.
I need me a money doctor.
Money doctor, you like that?
I've got an ailment here. I got an ailment called poverty.
So she is here to share, and not just about the tax reform. I think it's also about just how do we maneuver in taxes. You know,
through that process.
Yeah. And a lot of times, our small business owners, think that if I don't report all my income, I don't have to pay any taxes.
Yeah.
But then what happens down the line, right? What happens when we need to buy a home or get capital for our business? So we need to do things differently.
A lot differently.
So Cozette is a transformational speaker. She has been out on the circuit for a while. She has been on so many television shows and doing her thing and creating her businesses and educating people on the importance of money and how it works.
Right.
So welcome to the Business Zone.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me.
We are so happy to have you. When I was thinking, and in fact, I think this came because someone right after the Reform Act bill was passed, there was a lot of interaction going on your Facebook page.
Right.
And people were asking questions and they were like, oh, what do I do about this? And what do I do about this? And so like, wait a minute, I need to make January tax reform month.
Right. That's a good month.
And I need that.
Well.
And I need her to be the lead it.
Right out the gate.
Right at the gate. So tell us, Cozette, what are we supposed to do? And first, what are the areas that is going to affect our small businesses the most, and us personally as well?
Right. And so what I've done, I want to talk about the taxes as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we want to angle in on our small businesses. So I'm going to start from the top and tell you which ones are really important that will impact all of us. And as I come to an end, then we're going to be talking about the business. Okay. So the one tax or the one change that is really going to impact everyone, no matter what you are, if you're a business or an individual, is the fact that they lowered the rates. So if you look at the rates, whether you're single, whether you're married, filing jointly, the rates have changed. The tax rates have changed. They were 10% or 12%. Now they're down to 10%, and each level has been reduced about 2%. So we're going to see that change, which will realistically help no matter how you're filing.
So that means your deductions before, you could deduct up to 12%, but now you're down to 10%.
No, what that means is that instead of, depending on your income level, the income level has kind of dropped as well as the amount that you're paying. So if you're at $100,000, instead of paying 12%, you might be paying 10% in taxes. That's what that means.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit.
So, the only way you're going to see, if you're a highly compensated employee and maybe you're not married, maybe you're just single and you have no write-offs, then you may be kind of on that borderline and not see a great shift in your taxes. So, So that's the first one. That's going to impact all of us. If you pay taxes, it's going to impact you. The next biggie, which depends on how one files their taxes, is that standard deduction. In the past for 2017, and we're going to see that this year, it was $6,050 for a single individual. It's doubling. So what's going to happen there is, say for instance you don't itemize, or say you did itemize. and then maybe, you're taking this $12,000 and maybe you don't have enough in itemized deductions to meet that threshold, then I don't know if one's really going to benefit is what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you didn't itemize before, then definitely that is a benefit for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about itemization in a minute and what that means to some of you who don't really understand what that means. But as far as that threshold, that we'll see, we as taxpayers will see.
Okay, and that's not necessarily a benefit for us. That's against us if we can't.
If you were itemizing, it definitely can be against you. And I'll talk about itemization in a minute. If you're here in California and you itemize, you have a home, of course the prices of the homes are different than in maybe the South because they don't pay as much for a home. And their interest is a little less when they get that mortgage interest.
Let me see what's happening here. Okay, I don't know where that's coming from. Okay.
We got some duplication going on here.
I think that's Gilbert. You're going to have to hit your mute button over there. Okay.
That scared the heck out of me.
Yeah, just have to hit your mute button.
That's okay. Got some duplication.
I'm like, what's
technology, you guys.
So if you're not itemizing or if you haven't itemized, then that could be an factor. Okay, so listeners, write that one down as a question mark how that's going to benefit you.
Yeah, if you itemized in the past, you may find that you might not need to itemize now. Because if it's jumped up to $12,000 and maybe you were right there at that borderline, 11.5, you may not need to get your property tax bill out, the mortgage interest bill out, the charitable contributions, all of those things. So
it's just a flat rate.
It's a flat rate. Okay. And that's why you hear them saying taxpayers now will be able to do their taxes on a postcard. That's what they're meaning.
Yeah.
It's going to be simple. Yeah. But it'll never be that simple.
That's true. We know that.
And then I've had individuals say, well, do you think that they're going to take your job away from you with this new tax bill? No, because most taxpayers still want to have that sense of security and have someone else do their tax return.
Right.
So, So, and then the third one, and I think I just touched on it, I didn't touch on it. The personal exemption.
Yeah.
That is really going to hurt the taxpayers.
Tell me about that.
The personal exemption, that's a credit that we get. It's a bottom line credit. So if we've in the past been paying taxes on $100,000, let's say our gross income or our taxable income is $100,000. Since they're taking away that personal exemption, which was $4,050 per person, if you take a family of 4, they were paying taxes on $84,000.
Okay.
Now they're going to be paying taxes on that $100,000. So you see the difference. That personal exemption by taking that away. So that hurts the taxpayer. That's going to hurt all of us, no matter what, whether you're a business owner or not.
So they're taking away from one side, and then they're putting it on this other side, but they're piling up too.
Right.
So even though they make it seem like the $12,000, you're getting $12,000 deduction, over on this side, that's what, 16? That's more than 16,000, right?
Right, 4,000. Well, 4,000. Yeah.
For a family of 4, right? Unbelievable.
Right. So in theory, you're paying more in taxes.
You're paying more. Yes, you are.
On 100,000 versus 84. So that's a simple one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's basic math, man.
Right. They made it appear to us as we're getting a tax break. So we really aren't.
Right.
So the next one, that's the child tax credit. So for those of you that have kids and you get that credit, the credit was, what was it? It was $1,000, but they've beefed it up to $2,000 per child. Not only did they beef it up, they've stretched the threshold limits. So you can make more and still get that credit versus your taxable amount, your gross taxable amount phasing out. So that's a plus. That's a plus. I would say that is a plus.
Okay. You don't have any children, that's not, but yeah.
Yeah, if you have any children. If you have any children. But let me just kind of side note, for those of you that do get this credit right now, you get the additional child tax credit and you get the earned income tax credit. They just released the dates yesterday for when we can start filing tax returns. We can start filing the last Monday of January. But If you are a taxpayer and you get the earned income credit as well as the additional child tax credit, don't expect to get your check early, your refund early. They're not releasing the refunds until the last week of February if you fall into either of those categories.
Wow.
So for those of you that, you rush to your tax person, you think you're going to get that check, you're going to be on hold.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Now, with the state exemption reduction of that. Now, I just heard yesterday there's a senator or there's some movement going on in the state of California, and I think it is happening in other states as well, where instead of paying into the state tax, then you can do a donation or a charitable contribution, and there's no limit on that. That's kind of what I heard.
That is true, and it is different for each state. So depending on which state you're in, and we're constantly being bombarded with emails on a daily basis from the different states, what they're putting in place. But here for California, I know that I got the email that California residents, if we paid an additional property tax bill, then we could write that off on this 2017 return.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is true.
Okay.
Yeah, I got.
But there was a cap, though.
There was a cap, and I don't recall what the cap was.
I thought it was $10,000. So if their property taxes were over that, they weren't going to get any more credit than for the $10,000, right?
Well, the $10,000 that applies for that's part of the new law.
Okay.
That's the 2018. Yes. So, and I'm going to get to itemization in a second, and we'll cover that as well.
Okay.
But for the 2017, anyone could have paid an additional property tax bill. So I went in the last day of the year and I paid additional so that I can write it off on this 2017 return and not hit that max next year and not be able to write it off.
Mm-hmm. And what was so sad about it, or cruel, it's sad, it was cruel, was all of this took place when you literally had no time to beef up your IRAs, to do some other investments, to go out and buy a building, commercial building. You literally, it was always the last 2 weeks of December and everything was done.
Right. And it was a frenzy that it was really going to take place with our 2017. So I think that was the initial worry of taxpayers. Oh my goodness, I've planned for 2017. Now all of a sudden these last 2 weeks, this law has passed. Mm-hmm. But thank God for all of us. Mm-hmm. It's not.
It's not until 2018. Yeah. So hopefully they rescind him.
All this tax planning I did, it's not working. What?
Right. Exactly. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Whew. Okay. So that was personal side, right?
That was the personal side. So yes, now let's jump into the corporate side, the business side. Now we know, first of all, the corporate tax is reduced from 35% to 21%. Right. So, that's a 40% reduction in itself right there. So that's helping the large corporations.
Exactly. I was just going to say that.
Large corporations.
Because many of our small businesses are sole proprietorship, they're general partnership, or maybe an LLC. So
correct.
All of that stuff doesn't help the small business.
That doesn't. But what's going to help the small businesses is the fact that the 20% reduction for pass-through organizations. And that does include the sole proprietors, the partnerships, the LLC.
Right.
We'll see that. And I think that's a plus, that 20%.
So tell me how the 20% works.
Yeah, because isn't it 12%? But then the pass-through, because on your personal, what about your personal, though?
That is on your personal. There's a 20% decrease. So it's going to help the taxpayers. It's not going to hurt them. Okay. If you own a business, then that's definitely going to help you because that amount is passing through on your personal tax return.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what I say to any business owner, what I say to anyone that's really considering even starting a business, you need to make sure that you form the correct type of business.
Right.
I wouldn't go into a corporation because I wouldn't set myself up as a corporation. And I'm going to tell you why. Do you meet those thresholds to really get that benefit?
No.
You need that pass-through really to reduce that taxable income. So you need to really consider a partnership, an LLC,
a sole prop.
Well, yeah.
So that was like, oh, wait, man. We tell everybody to do sole prop, but so they don't get protected. Like, what?
That's a whole other conversation.
Have us tax people going like this.
No, you want to form a business the correct way. A sole proprietor, it's not looked at as a business, so to speak.
Right,
you know,
exactly. And there's no protection.
Right. To those of you that are out there. So, but sit with your taxpayer, your attorney, whomever you want to, and decide what the pros or cons. We're talking about taxes here.
It sounds like we're going to have to get you to teach some classes for us there, Cozette, so they'll learn the different classification and how these things will work for them.
Yeah, what's the pros and cons? Why do you want to get them? What's the benefits? So yes. And we could talk about that later on because I will be having some classes coming up.
Good.
In February, as a matter of fact.
Okay. In fact, we might extend what I was telling Gilbert. We want to do some segments, like the first 15 minutes or first 10 minutes of our show once a month, and a segment that's coming in talking about tax reforms and new changes and updates. And we have someone coming in that's going to do the legal, legalizing your business and the legal structure of your business and why you need an attorney. Right. And then I have someone that's going to come in who's a psychologist that's going to do something on the business mindset. Maybe we can have, because I think that's important. That's what we're about, is about informing and keeping us informed. So this right here is fantastic because Candace says Cozette is an awesome teacher.
As a matter of fact, Candace allowed me to teach in her boutique store. All that and more. Let me throw that out there. All that and more.
She is so cool. She markets. She brings people in at the same time. They got to pass through the front part of the boutique. To get to the back.
That's another pass-through business.
Another pass-through. So she gets you to pass through at the same time, buy an earring on your way to
a t-shirt.
To the seminar.
I like that strategy. I like it. I'm going to have to adopt it.
Right. But she allowed me to come in and have a workshop at her boutique store. So she had an opportunity to sit and listen to me. So
that's good.
But I think that's a really great idea because, a lot of times as business owners and our day-to-day taxpayers, we don't think about taxes until we're in the season, late December
until
to April.
Yeah.
Right. After that, it's out of sight, out of mind until the end of the year when we're worried about, tax season is here. I need to get my documents together. So.
And we need to, so when we look at the wealthy, that's part of their structure. That's part of their planning. So they sit down at the beginning of the year and they talk to their attorney and they talk to their CPA and, at January 1, what do I need to be doing to not be paying taxes by the end of the 31st, right? So they have a strategy in what they're doing. So nothing is done haphazardly or that piece is not left out because the attorney and the CPA and the tax profession expert is part of your team.
Right. That is correct. And I think we've had this conversation before, and I always stress to everyone, it is critical that you, especially, I don't care if you're a business owner, just a regular taxpayer. Tax planning is critical. You want to, things change throughout the year. Yeah. For instance, last year, 2017, I had surgery this summer, so my income kind of shifted a little. I had to revisit some things, think about my tax implication. Was I going to be paying more in taxes, less in taxes? The income was non-taxable income, so things shifted. So that's why it's important that you constantly hear us say tax planning. Sit with your attorney, sit with your CPA, sit with the key people that are going to help you this time of the year.
And what would be the time frame? So obviously, when you're going to get your taxes, not just going to get your taxes done, you should be also talking about what your strategy should be within that year, right?
Definitely. When you go to get your taxes done, that's priority. You should definitely have that conversation because once you see the end result, you need to know what do you need to do different for the upcoming year. Then I say meet with your tax preparer, your planner at least twice. You need to have that mid-year and that end of the year.
Okay.
That mid-year and that end of the year.
The thing that kills many of our small businesses is that Social Security taxes because they never plan for that. And then at the end of the year, they're saying, okay, I want to pay my taxes. And then here, by the way, your Social Security tax is going to be $15,000. Oh, whoa! Where did that come from?
Right. And then what you hear then is, well, can we do some adjustments?
Yeah.
What can we do?
Yeah.
And it's too late at that time.
Yeah.
Yes, we probably can do some adjustments, but that's called tax planning.
Yeah.
If we plan, we know in October, it looks like you're going to be owing $15,000.
Yeah.
Then you have 3 months to make some adjustments.
Right.
Can I put some more into the Roth? Can I do what can I do so that I'm reducing that taxable number? You know, we'll give you a strategy for the next 3 months. Stretch your cash. Ask your vendors if you can pay more to get a discount. There are a lot of different things that you can do to play around with your money.
See, and those are some of the things we want to hear in the workshop.
And that's right. Yeah. And when you hear that word, when you hear them say pay no taxes, that's what they mean. You just need to. There's a lot of different ways to get around.
Yeah, because one of the ways I just heard the other day, they were talking to what's that guy that married the woman that they went to the mint to count the money?
Steve Mnuchin.
So someone was talking to him, and he was really bragging about it after the tax law reform, and he was saying, "Well, my profit is not taxed. That's interest. That's interest on investments of mine."
Creative accounting is what we call it.
Right, exactly. So we need to learn creative accounting, right? So that profit you're making, go buy some stock, right?
Or get some alternative revenue.
Right, so that it's not income, is interest on your investment.
And the other thing about planning is, we have deadlines. For instance, right now, 1099s are due this month. There's some ways that you can shift your money around, but if you plan accordingly, you can do it. But if you wait till after certain deadlines, you miss the cutoff and you may be subject to penalties. So talk to that key person that's overseeing your finances is what I always say.
And that's really important. And especially, Candace says, yes, we need creative accounting. And especially those, when you actually setting up the structure of your business, they'll sign up and for an LLC or a corporation in June. Whoa, do you realize that you're going to be paying $800 in January and March? No, anything past May, no.
Right.
In fact, if you don't do it January 1, don't be worrying about it. Don't be doing it until the next year. Figure out something else. But
the other thing that gets me as well is when I have people come to me and they set up a business the last couple of months, no business expenses. Just the startup cost. I need you to do a return for me. Did you have any income? No income. So for those of you that are starting a business, in order to do a business return, it requires $400 or more to do a business return. And you must have income. You can't just have expenses. That's not a business. It's a hobby.
Can you repeat that, please, Cozette? Just let them hear that again, please.
Let me say that one more time. If you call yourself a business owner, you must generate revenue, right? If you're not generating revenue, it's a hobby.
Right.
And in order to do a business tax return, you must have at least $400 or more in income. You cannot just have a bunch of expenses. That's a hobby.
But that's
a fun hobby.
Right, but somebody's told them that. Someone has told them somewhere in some class, somewhere, that you don't have to have income. You just need to write off expenses, and because you put the money out there, now I can get a refund. Somebody didn't told them that, and that's what they're banking. And they probably heard it about 10, 15 years ago.
They heard it so many times. This is the other one, for charitable contributions, the tithings. Oh, I was told I can write this off. You can, but you don't have enough itemized deductions. Therefore, you can't write that off. So that's another one that I battle with my clients.
I have a client. Go ahead.
Explain the itemized. So that was next on the list, right?
The itemized deductions.
What exactly is that, and what qualifies and what doesn't in the old reform and today?
Okay, let's talk about the old first, since we've still got to get these 2017 done. So itemized deductions, you guys, it includes your medical expenses. Medical could be dental, vision, the mileage to get your prescriptions, the mileage to go to the doctor. All of those things fall under the medical category. If you pay premiums, say Social Security, maybe you pay additional premiums. Those type of expenses can go under the medical category. But, and I don't want to confuse you, there's a cap. So you cannot write off the first 10% of your adjusted gross income. And if you are over 65, I believe that is, then it's 7.5%. And believe me, that number changed for 2017. I think it's 7.5% right now for 2017. They reduced it. It's a temporary reduction only. So just remember, and I'm going to use a simple number. If you made $100,000, the first 10% you cannot write off. So 10% of $100,000 is $10,000. If you have medical expenses over $10,000, if you had $11,000, all you're writing off is $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Right. The first 10% of your adjusted gross income you can't write off.
So individuals that are cancer treatment, for those that are caregiving their parents, and which is a lot of money because of all of everything going. I mean, if you have cancer and all the treatment and the medication, and now that the disability, the insurance now that they're playing with affordable health care, wow.
9 times out of 10, what I see in those particular situations, they because they have such high medical bills, then they would be a candidate that would fall into that category for itemizing.
Okay,
yeah,
so they need to hide.
You know, if they have the income. So.
I'm getting more and more depressed the more I hear this.
I mean, because that,
so
you know, I don't know if you know Pastor Rhonda Sandiford. Rhonda has a cancer ministry. And one of the reasons, and she had cancer. She was actually diagnosed on 9/11. That's what she dealt with on that day. But she went into guerrilla mode. She went through treatment for 1 year. She was cool after that. She was like, okay, we got to have a plan because I got stuff to do.
Right.
So, but one of the things that resonated with her and why she started her organization, Celebrate Life Cancer Ministry, was because she went for treatment, and there was a lady that had to make a decision between food and treatment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And she could not afford the treatment.
Yeah.
And you need to eat. So it's like there is no one or the other.
Right.
And so that was why she created it. So because that can bankrupt, which is what the purpose of affordable health care was in the first place.
Right.
That can literally bankrupt a family.
Well, this is a very, very interesting topic. Like I say, I get a little bit happy and then I get depressed most of the time. So we're at the top of the hour. So we're going to go ahead and take a break so I can redeem myself and come back to the wonderful guest we have, Miss Cozette White, and she's going to tell us more about how we can structure and plan our business. So
poor Gilbert.
I'm just having withdrawals back here. So we're on the Business Zone with
Christo,
Gilbert, and our special guest, Miss Cozette White. So we'll go ahead and take a break.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Every day, on every street, in every town across America, small businesses show their love to you. With some friendly advice, a genuine smile, and a warm welcome, they make your town, well, your town. That's why American Express is proud to be the founding partner of Small Business Saturday, a day where you get to return that love, because shopping small makes a big difference. So on November 25th, get up, get out, and shop.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal,
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and our special guest in the studio, Miss Cozette White. And Miss Cozette White, I've got a question here for you. I have some clients, and some of these clients, they figure if they did not make any money in their business last year, then they shouldn't file taxes. So can you speak to the audience and explain to them the process, how that works, and why that's a myth?
They don't want to file a tax return simply because they didn't make any money.
They didn't make any money, so they think they don't need to file.
Because if they didn't make any money, they don't owe any money.
They're thinking they don't owe any money, so therefore I don't have to file. So
right.
Can you explain to them, please?
Let me just the myth. It's best to go ahead and file the tax return because, let's listen to me for a second. If you didn't make any money, you made some money, but you were broke in the end, right? You were broke. You were operating in the red. So what that is truly doing, you're going to show on that tax return a loss.
Right.
So you still need to file that because it's the right thing to do.
And then there are some, like
and the other thing is, you want to show a consistent track record. You know, you don't want to show 3 years of filing a return for ABC business and then you skip a year and then you go back to filing a return and then the IRS looks at that historical record and like, well, what happened?
Right.
They're going to come back to you and say, what happened to 2017? Why didn't you file this tax return?
And there might be an audit in there.
Exactly. And if you don't have your bank records, you don't have your expenses, then what are you going to do? If they want to, they can say, well, over the last 3 years, your income was on average $20K or $50K. We're going to make you pay taxes on that.
So,
and you have nothing to stand on, a leg to stand on. You can fight it, but then that's where you're going to have to go through a lot of unnecessary work of getting bank statements, pulling out receipts, and just do the right thing.
See, I help small businesses prepare for certifications. So I help them package their certification and submit it. Part of the certification requirement is you have to show your tax returns for the last 3 years.
Right. Right. And not only that, what if you need some additional financing and they say, can you bring us not only the tax return, but we need the December 31st balance sheet as well as your year-to-date profit and loss statement for the last 3 calendar years.
Yes.
And you don't have it. You're scrambling to get it.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So I just wanted you to tell them the value of filing the taxes. Whether you made a profit or not, you file it anyway, because not only is it the right thing to do, it's a legal thing to do.
It's right.
because they're going to come after you. You're just setting yourself up for an audit. And believe me, I've been through an audit before. It's not a pleasant experience.
Let me say this about an audit, because I've had clients that have been through audits. I've had clients that have been through the criminal investigation side.
Wow.
And that's definitely not fun. That's another day, but let's just say this.
Or even in which I found when we did the conference for the Bella Network, which I did not know this, but as a female, if you get a divorce and you actually had to be the primary moneymaker, and something happened, and the individual that was speaking on this, she was ill.
Yeah.
And so she was making X amount of dollars before her illness, and then her business, because she was the sole proprietor, CEO.
Right.
then her business revenues went down, but her husband was able to go back for the money that she made in the previous year.
Right.
So that even as a woman, you need to be sitting down to understand the legalities and the accounting part of your world. Right.
But what I was going to say, though, about an audit, because I've been through them with my clients, and, as a taxpayer, you're going to panic. Yeah. They're really simple. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They really, really are. As long as you have the documents that they ask for and you can provide all the backup. If you go in there looking like you're organized, then 9 times out of 10, you'll come out of it clean. Yes. You can argue. I don't want to use the word argue. You can debate. You can appeal if it comes out unfavorable. But if you've had everything in order, and that's what Crystal and I have always said, a bookkeeper, maintaining your records, understanding QuickBooks, understanding the numbers. And I like to say the numbers are sexy.
They are very sexy, actually.
Numbers are sexy. I don't care what you all say out there, but especially when the zeros start adding to them. But, just make sure you're keeping accurate records. Bookkeeping is vital, and do it throughout the year. That way, if you are audited, you can eliminate some of the stress, and you can call the IRS and set up that appointment when that envelope comes. And just, it's a whiz. But if things are all, in the envelope or in the shoebox, like you said, then you're going to panic.
Yeah, and just out of curiosity, when they do an audit, what are some of the documents they're looking for?
They're looking for, I'll give you one example, because I was audited before for mileage.
Yes.
What they asked for was a mileage log. They asked for records from the beginning of the year where I took my car in for repairs, because they list the mileage on there, and they wanted a receipt from the end of the year so that they can compare. She started the end of the year in January going for an oil change at this, and she ended. Well, she put this amount of miles. So I always tell people, but they want the mileage log. They want canceled check. You cannot just use a receipt or a bank statement is fine. I always just say, make sure you have the invoice, make sure you have the canceled check, and make sure you have the bank statement. Wow. Those 3 match.
Wow, that's good information. That's very good.
And if you have an accounting system, it kind of does all that. Like
if you take your P&L in there,
because you're if that's. And if you have a person that's doing your bookkeeping for you, right? Yeah. So, we're doing a review. We're going over everything. The banks, in QuickBooks, I upload everything from the bank into there. And then, so you have a transaction. Yeah. You actually see the uploaded file from the bank that is showing all the transactions, and so those are some of your records then.
Right. And also, just as a secondary, your bookkeeper is signing off, or your CPA is signing off that they certified, they audited the records. And so even though you as the taxpayer are ultimately responsible for the numbers that go into the IRS, it's just like another layer of, the numbers were checked, et cetera.
Yeah, so
but you're still responsible.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But it's a verification. And I know I've not sat in on tax audit, but I have, because a lot of my clients are nonprofits, I've sat in on an independent or a actual review audit for a nonprofit. So they come in and they want to see everything. And by the time they get done with you after that month, and they didn't rake you up and down the code. So when I first got in the accounting industry, I had a controller that was just anal beyond. I mean, even when I reconciled, I had to be down to the last half a cent. Yeah. Even if there wasn't a half a cent, it had to be at the half a cent to zero. Right. And so we had an audit. So based upon that, when I went to a church and there was an audit that was done, I knew, just based for him, because I did not want him.
You'd be in good shape.
When I do a check, I write everything, every detail. If someone told me to do it, that's in the memo. There is no memos. There is no information that you can't pick up the source document and go, wow.
Right. Was this approved? Yes. Here's the email to support it.
Right. Everything is attached. If there's some addendums, or if they wanted me to do something crazy, so-and-so asked me to do so-and-so on this date, and here's the attached email. So I always had records records of exactly what went on. So the audit was, because these audits, the independent audits that for nonprofits are pretty darn intense, right? Because then they're coming back with what you got to fix and all that sort of stuff. So, and they're not nice.
Well, they start with the balance sheet. So for all our business owners, the things that they really pay attention to, they look at your cash, they look at your receivables, they look at your payables, your inventory, they look at everything on that balance sheet. And I'm just giving you top level. So when we talk about cash, your balance, your bank reconciliations, your payables, they're looking at to make sure, do you have W-9s from your vendors? They're looking to make sure you have proper signatures.
Were they W-9s?
You know, right. The correct authorizations. They're looking for a lot of different things.
Right.
You know, on the receivable side, they're looking to see if you are, you know, the terms are correct. Are you collecting too early? Collecting, you know, taking discounts. They're looking at a whole lot. So, yes, the field of accounting, we love it.
But very detail oriented.
And, you know, when Crystal was talking right now, I was listening, and that guy you mentioned, that controller, that everyone hates him in the beginning because he's so anal. He wants everything, but when it comes to an audit, you love him because you know that he crossed all the T's, that all the I's. He asks for everything, and it's right there. I
can eyeball, and when I'm teaching class, I can eyeball a problem just by going there, especially one of my students, it's not balancing. I'll go, that's right there.
Right, exactly.
And they're like, how do you do that?
Been doing it for so long.
Right, and because for him, I never could hand anything to him that I had not made sure the I's were dotted and T's crossed. And I checked 5 times in case that he would find some other mystery number that appeared out of nowhere.
See, the thing is, besides doing accounting in college, I did accounting 1 and 2, right? And then in business, I did some accounting. But also, I did economic development financing. That's the one that's tough.
Yeah.
That's the one that's tough. Because not only do you have to bring in other funders, like an economic development agency, the bank over here, maybe a third-party lender, and then you combine it. But now you got to look at the financials. You got to make sure things, the assumptions, you got to explain things. So that right there really prepared me a lot.
Right. Yeah. What if at this? What's this?
And that's why numbers are sexy.
Right, exactly.
It's not just the fact that you're recording them. It's what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Am I making money? Am I not making money? What do I need to do to change this? Am I paying too much for payroll? You know, whatever. So that's what makes them
Well, that's why when I say to business owners, we need to, as business owners, look through the windshield wiper and not the rear view mirror. Because what happened in the past is the past. We can look at it as a trend or historical, but we need to focus on what's happening ahead of us. How can we reach that goal? And you were talking about revenue and so on and so forth, but we need to look forward thinking.
We definitely got to bring you in on one of our classes so you can teach the mastermind class.
Yeah, so we do a mastermind group where we're getting businesses certified. So they're in a 4-week class, and then at the end they're gonna we guarantee that they will have a city and the state certification, and then as well as a $50,000 contract. So we want to, and we need to make sure that they're business ready, that they understand.
While you were talking right now, in my mind, I'm going, okay, I see the perfect class. I see you walking in and say, okay, guys, today we're doing an audit.
I
want to see this document. That would be amazing. I would love that class.
It's so funny because when I was in college, each summer, I think my senior year, my junior, or the last 3 years, that's what I did. I did audits.
Yes.
State Farm, I was in the audit department. Defense Contract Audit Agency, I was in the audit department. And I don't remember the other one, but I was in the audit department just to make sure that it was boring as I don't know. But I stuck with it.
Right, exactly. But it makes you, on this side of the...
You learn a lot when you go through audit.
For sure.
Yeah, because you're looking at it differently. It's from an analysis side and forensics, actually.
Right.
And that made it, that helped me. Like I said, he shaped. That's why I'm more of a forensic person than I am just regular routine.
And that's why I said you probably hated him before, but when it came to that time,
I give him his props all the time because I know that's where I got it from.
The other thing, speaking of forensic, and which is important to our business owners, you can have employees that are stealing from you, but if you don't have your hand on the finger and you're not reviewing the work and looking at your numbers, you don't know if there's some fraud going on.
Exactly.
I worked at a company, and when I first came in, they didn't tell me why, but long story short, the controller had been, she was stealing. She had gave herself a pay increase, and it had gone on for about 6 months.
Wow.
They did, they took her to court, all the legal stuff, but, as business owners, dive in. Don't assume that your employees are always doing what they're supposed to do,
Oh, and that's actually funny that you said that, because one of the students this morning when I was in class, that was our last conversation, that because I was talking about CYA as a bookkeeper, making sure, because then brought up Enron, because they blamed that on the bookkeeper, right? Yeah. And I was telling them that I've been asked some crazy stuff to do, some crazy posting and journal. No, I ain't doing that. So you ain't tying me up. But I too had a client that I went in and to clean up some mess. It was just really, really bad. The bookkeeper hadn't stolen anything, but just wasn't doing the work at all. In fact, she was writing her own book in the office. And, usually bookkeepers are in the back in the corner and nobody's paying attention to them. Right? So that's what was happening. So she was literally writing her own book. And so nothing was getting. So when it got out of hand, it was a church, so the pastor couldn't cash his check was bouncing. So by that time, they needed to bring somebody else in. So when I got there, oh my God, it was the vendors calling and whatever. And so I was cleaning up that part and finding out what was really owed and having negotiations with the vendors and so forth and so on, right? So the administrator went on vacation. And when he was away, they asked me would I do payroll. So just through the 80 people at me, and I had to read the master control. And so when I processed payroll, I went, well, when? Because you usually go back. I backtrack in to see when the payroll taxes were paid and where they were paid and what date and what amount to verify my amount, right?
What else is outstanding?
And I went, where's the payroll taxes? And then I did a filter and a search thinking, there's no money that's ever been paid to the IRS. And
so that 941 wasn't being done?
No. So, exactly. And then I saw that the EDD was behind a quarter. And I'm like, So at that point, I was like, if they're behind, so at the end of the day, it turned out that they had not paid payroll taxes in 6 years.
Oh, 6 years.
Oh,
wow. And the only reason...
How the IRS didn't catch that? Because they should have been...
They were sending, but the person was throwing them away. But because they were a church, that is the only saving grace for them.
I was going to say, because it would have been a flag when the employees got their W-2s. But if it was nonprofit, because they would have said... They would have been getting notices that our records don't match.
But they was a nonprofit, and it was a church, not just a nonprofit. It was a church. So when I went back, I had to go in and do forensic all the way back to, we're talking the 1990s. And so when I went through, I was able to identify. So it was in taxes, it should have been $600,000, but it was actually $1.3 million with penalties and interest. And there was only 1 quarter behind on the EDD. So I went to them. We got this whole offering is going to the EDD.
Right.
So we took that, and they were cool. But the IRS, they had been sending out, but again, it was the church. That's the only thing we can figure.
So they didn't get the nonprofit status.
Nothing.
Oh, we just talking about
just a church, right? So it's a little different. So and they didn't have to. You don't have to file the 199, whatever that form is. You don't have to do anything. The only thing you're doing is your taxes, right?
Right.
And your statement of information.
Yeah.
That's really
bad.
That's all you're really doing. So there's really no other communication with you in the IRS. So at the end of the day, what had to happen was we identified it. We sat down with them, had to totally change. They had to see that there was a complete change in the administration, that the person that did it couldn't be there anymore. Right. Here was an eye-waking experience. The board did not realize that they were fiducially responsible. So when they walked in and the IRS said, I need to know your assets. I need to know your bank accounts. I need to know your information. Send me that. They were like, what are you talking about?
Right.
You are responsible.
Now they start paying attention.
They were like, oh my God. So we can take your house. We can seize your bank account to get our money back.
That nice car that you're driving.
Right. All of that. So
that's why when I was in the role of the controller, signing checks, signing tax documents for the organization, I always knew that I was responsible when my name went on there. So I was not that person, just, stick this in front of me and I'm going to sign it. Leave it there. I need to review it.
Review that.
I need to look at this. Yeah. So,
I'm a little cautious when I do 990s. It's like, oh, Lord, do I have to put my name on here? Because, really, if you're doing it, if I'm not working in I'm just taking the data from wherever the data is and putting it on the 9 and signing off on it. I'm like, oh, because I always do when I get this, like, ooh, oh, yeah, okay.
Well, on some of the documents.
Start with a C. Start with a C for Crystal. And you
So I'm very cautious about who I do 990s
on some of the documents, what they do now is they have the person that prepared it. On some of them, like the SBOE and different ones like that. But the actual business owner must sign it as well. So that means you're not.
I'd be like, he's signing it, right? We let him sign it, and I'll come back and sign it. So you review it, have him sign it, send it back to me, and I'll put my signature.
Right.
For those of you who are listening, it's EDD is Employment Development Department.
Right. So at the end of the day, we ended up we took care of it. It took 3 years. We brought in a CPA that's his specialty and offering compromise, and he did all the conversation. We set up a payment plan to pay back in for that 3 years, and so at the end of that, they actually reduced it back down to the $600,000 because we showed an act of faith.
That's great.
And that everything had turned around. So that was it. But by the grace of God, because he had been throwing away the and nobody knew. I mean, because if you're not keeping track, right?
Business owners.
The thing come in, just toss it, shred it. In fact, we never saw one.
Oh, wow.
We went through that office, never actually saw a notice from the IRS.
See, and that's why I tell our small businesses that even though we know the financial piece is their Achilles heels, they hate the financial piece, you should at least take a look at the document, see what's going on. See, my thing is, when I look at a balance sheet, the first thing I look for, I want to see if there's any numbers in parentheses. I want to see, is there any minus quantities on that financial statement? Because then that means there's money going somewhere, and I didn't authorize it. So where's it going? And to whom? To whom is it going?
Well, actually, that's how I choose clients. Because if I get there, I have to see financial statements first.
Really? That's a good idea.
So I can know whether
what am I getting myself into?
I'm going to get paid.
Right.
How bad is the problem, really? Let me see this. Let me have your books first. Let me check it out. And let me decide if this is an endeavor that I want.
Small businesses, you really want to check out your finances. You may not know what to look for, and that's why you want to deal with consultants, CPAs, bookkeepers who understand. One of the things that I do in my workshops when I'm working with small businesses, and I said, how do you choose a bookkeeper or an accountant? One of the things I say is, when you get your financial statements, do you know what type of accounting system they're using? Is it accrual or is it cash basis?
Right.
They don't know. So I said, okay, do you know where to find it? Well, you look at the document, top right hand or top left hand corner, it will say accrual or it will say cash basis.
Right.
You want to go home and you want to go to your office and you want to ask that bookkeeper, what system are we using? And if they don't know, they're out. You fire them right on that spot because they're supposed to know.
Right.
Or I had some clients that I went in and changed over their accounting system to QuickBooks, and we had to, plan for that, right? We had to create the chart of accounts, and we had to carry. There were fiscals that had to carry all the balances.
Right.
So I said to their person who had said that they had an accounting degree, I said, so I need to forget the accrual and the cash basis. Yeah. I need all year-end totals for every account. And they went, what? What's that?
The bookkeeper is saying that?
Yeah. All year-end totals. And we need to carry, I need to be able to start the new. And she's like, What? And then I said something about and what is the outstanding AR and what's the outstanding
what does
AP?
AR mean?
And they're like, I was like, okay, so there's no degree here.
Right. Exactly.
Forget the cash accrual.
What is AP and AR? I don't know what those are.
I mean, that's in the 101, right? That's the first class you learn.
Exactly.
Right? Chart of accounts, what are those?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, at that point there, you got the wrong person.
Well, you know about the chart of accounts as soon as you pick it up and see if the number sequence is out or something is up top.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All
so small businesses, you need to be on the lookout. You need to look out for these types of individuals who claim they're bookkeepers and CPAs and accountants. If they don't understand some of these terms, like AR is accounts receivable, AP is accounts payable. If they don't know those terms, then they don't belong in your business.
And it's funny because the people, I've told many, I'll go in and, they want me to do something for them and do their books or accounting or whatever it is they want me to do. Now I'm more into designing chart of accounts because that is a science all by itself.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, you're a little expensive. I said, well, you get what you pay for.
Right.
So tell me, how many bookkeepers have you gone through?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, about 10. Okay, well, like I said, you get what you pay for. So if you don't want to pay, then you get what you pay for.
Well, you're bringing years of experience to the table.
Oh, yeah. And everything else I do. And I'm not just a bookkeeper because I'm just, as Jennifer says, she goes, no, this is my business manager because I don't care. And all my clients, they call me, and sometimes they call me about the software. It got nothing to do with accounting, but they know that I'm
right, because you're going to provide the advice. You're a consultant to them. You're going to guide them and help them make the right decisions.
Right. So you're not, and I'm teaching you about what you should be looking for in the event that I am not that person.
Exactly.
So this is what you need to be looking for. So it's a full education. And there's been a lot of my clients I had to actually, that's why I started incorporating before I teach QuickBooks, I incorporate accounting and bookkeeping into that's the first lesson.
Okay.
So then you will understand what's behind the software, because the software is just a tool.
That's right. That is true. That's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
This subject is so amazing. Because
then it'll be so much easier when they jump into the QuickBooks.
Yeah.
The concepts, how to set up, when they start seeing the I'm not going to say modules because there's not really modules, but
how to navigate through. So like students, like I do Gilbert and I have a contract with Mount SAC, and we're teaching young adults how to become bookkeepers.
Okay.
And so I've been doing that now for the last this is the sixth cohort that we've done. So when we get done, so a couple things we're proud of. One, we have a 95% hire rate, and they are still there. And a lot of them this has been over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
And secondly, in a very short period of time, so in 12 weeks, I am infusing everything that I know as a bookkeeper into them.
Okay.
And so they become little mini me's. And then I found a way for retention is we do practice sets. Okay. So they're designed to be, you're going like a company. Okay, here's your set up the company. This is the EIN number, and we go through all that stuff and everything. And then they have to process transactions. They have to process.
That's a good idea. Great, great education.
Yeah. So by the time they get done, they have gone through probably about 6 or 7 companies.
Yeah, they can get an entry-level job.
Yeah.
Right. They can get an entry. And so they know how to do that. And then we incorporate payroll, and they're doing manual payroll, so they'll understand the calculation of the taxes.
That's important. Ooh, that's a good manually.
Manually. Yeah, no. Manually. Even though we got QuickBooks, you're going out and calculating the taxes.
Right. That's good. Because, they come so self-sufficient. They come dependent upon ADP or Paychex or the software calculating everything. So if something is off, they don't know how to fix it.
If there's a bug
or how to backtrack.
For those of you who are just tuning in to the Business Zone, you're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, and our very special guest, Miss Cozette White. And we're going to go ahead and take a break right now, but we'll be right back. This subject is really, really dear to my heart, so I'm loving it.
And if you guys have any questions for Cozette, you can call us at 323-293-3375, or those that are on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, you can actually text us and we will ask the question for you.
Definitely. So let's take a break.
Hello, meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
Every day, on every street, in every town across America, small businesses show their love to you. With some friendly advice, a genuine smile, and a warm welcome, they make your town, well, your town. That's why American Express is proud to be the founding partner of Small Business.
So we are back on the Business Zone with
Krista
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, along with our very special guest today, Miss Cozette White. She's educating us on the tax laws, the recent tax laws, and what we need to do in order to be in compliance, and also what we need to do in order to run our business more efficiently. So, Crystal, you have some more questions for Miss White.
So did we cover itemization?
No, we stopped there. That's when we started talking to our business owners about making sure they were keeping and maintaining accurate records in the event of an audit.
So let's tell them what exactly what they can itemize and what that looks like.
Okay, yeah, we stopped at the medical. So let's drop down to the taxes. Okay. So when we talk about taxes, we're talking about sales tax and property taxes. And this is the area where the changes occurred for 2018, part of the new law. So in that category, you have your sales tax or your sales tax or your state tax. You also have your property tax. You have your DMV or registration tax, any property tax, and that's usually where your DMV section goes in, and any other miscellaneous taxes. That category in itself, the cap, is $10K. So that's why they were saying pay your property tax for 2018, that's due April 2018, pay it in 2017. Because next year we're going to have we're going to have that cap on us.
Okay.
Okay. So say you pay a lot in property taxes as it is.
Yeah.
That's why they were saying pay them early, but it's a cap right there. So the next section is your mortgage interest or your interest, and typically it's interest. If you own a home, it's your interest. If you have a second or first, second, or if you paid points, all of that goes in that section. Right below that is your charitable contributions. Okay, so charitable contributions, there's two different categories. There's the cash category and the non-cash category. The cash, of course, is if you say, I give the church my tithes. That's well, it depends on if I'm giving them cash or not, but there's cash and non-cash. The non-cash is things such as you donating clothes and whatnot to Goodwill, Red Cross, and stuff like that.
Okay.
There is a cap of $500. If you exceed $500, then there's another form that you have to provide them, and you also have to provide the backup, such as the address, the telephone number, all of that information, so that if they chose to audit you and cross-check, they could. That's also where you can put your donation. Say you donate your car for causes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You put it in that section as well. What's below that line is miscellaneous deductions. And this is where, for 2018, we're going to see some changes.
Wow.
In the miscellaneous deductions. So in the past, or for right now, this tax year, if you are an employee, and you have out-of-pocket employee expenses and your employer doesn't reimburse you, then you're able to write off anything 2% and above, anything above 2% above your GPA. GPA, AGI.
Your GPA, guys.
AGI, your adjusted gross income. But what's going to happen in 2018, say for instance you are you work in the manufacturer and you buy tools for work, your own personal tools, but you're using them for the job. And in the past, you've been able to write those tools off. Going forward, starting January 1, 2018, we are no longer going to be able to write off any non-reimbursable.
That's the teachers either, right? They can't write off any and they spend a lot of money.
Well, what they do, the teachers have that $250 cap, but anything above and beyond that, they can't write off it because it falls into that miscellaneous deduction.
Way more than $250.
They do, poor teachers, but they teach our kids.
Wow.
So that's in that particular. That's all that's on the itemized deduction sheet. You have your medical, you have your property taxes, you have your interest, you have charitable contributions, and miscellaneous deductions. The other thing that they're taking away from us, if you itemize, is your tax preparation fees. In the past, you go to H&R Block, you pay an arm and a leg, foot and a toe, you're able to write that off. Starting 2018, that's not going to be in the itemized deduction on the form.
But I bet you the rich are going to write off their CPA fees.
They'll figure out a way to do it.
Well, let me just tell you, because since I'm talking to you, if you are a business owner, you can put that on your business return instead of putting it into the itemized deduction.
Okay, all right. So you got to learn the strategies, right?
Right.
Now that's so now. And I think someone asked me recently. They're in property. They have W-2 income, but their additional streams of income is income or rental property. So they were concerned about writing off their interest on their property.
They will still be able to do that just as long as they don't have an investment. I believe it's starting in 2018. If the investment is $575, if it's above $575K, then there's a cap on the interest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because in the state of California,
but only if it's a new loan.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's a new loan, but if you've had it prior to the bill, then you're okay. You can still,
But there's nothing in our city that's less than $575K.
Right, unless you go out to Victorville.
Yeah, you ain't buying nothing in the county of Los Angeles.
Right.
That's causing you less than
Palmdale, Antelope Valley.
Yeah, everything is above $600,000.
Right.
So will student loans be written off also? Anymore or no?
I didn't read up on that part, and I know that there is some change on the student loan, so I don't want to mislead the viewers who are listening to us. I don't want to mislead them. So, but I can, if you guys put your question in the stream there, I can always follow up.
Okay.
And I got another one I want to throw out at you.
There is another credit that they threw out, and that's an additional $500 credit if you have a dependent on your tax return that is, say, your grandparent or a brother or something. There's that $500 credit that you can use as well. So that's new, and it's a limited credit. I think they're going to allow it for 2 years and then they're taking it away. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
This is like dangling a carrot in front of us, because they give you these temporary deductions just to get you to buy into their philosophy, their bogus tax program. And then after that, it's gone. There's nothing we have. So it's like we're stuck with this.
And it's temporary anyway, right?
That's temporary.
For the corporation is lifetime.
Yes.
But for the individual, regular middle class people, it's got a time limit.
It's a cap on it, yeah, and it doesn't, for me to even figure out what it's a cap on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this, I play around with numbers all the time. We've been talking about that all day, but I do play around, and I did do a preliminary for 2018, and I know that my numbers are going to shift. If I keep things just as they are right now, I will owe the IRS next year.
Wow.
If I, based on 27, if I don't make any changes, I'm definitely going to owe. So that goes back to make sure that you're meeting with an advisor when you get your return done, mid-year, and at the end of the year. Critical periods.
So that you know if you got to reinvest in your Roth or somewhere, or start moving some money some other places so that they will be sheltered. Because that's really how the rich work. They're sheltering everything. Oh, yeah. So that so we got to start thinking like that. Like I said, if you can't beat them, then we need to join them.
Sheltering.
Well, one thing I think is that interest in stock market and mutual funds and some other investments instead of just putting it in the bank.
Creative accounting again.
Creative accounting. Take some classes, some courses on creative accounting, right? Because we got to be smarter about this sort of stuff. Because, you can't. So you have some workshops and stuff coming up?
Yeah. I do. As a matter of fact, I have one on the third Friday of this month, and I am going over what I'm talking about today, but I'm going to talk about it in a little bit more detail. So let me just say this. The third Friday of every month, except for our summer months, which are June, July, and August, I'll be at the Microsoft store in Century City, and I'll be teaching a different course as it relates to business.
Fantastic. Congratulations. Is that something new?
That is new, starting this year, yes.
Fantastic.
So the third Friday, lunch and learn.
Are the classes free, or do you have to...
They're $10.
$10. It's not bad.
No.
Yeah, that's enough for the lunch.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's been quite busy. I see your marketing material everywhere out there with all the mover and shaker women that's out there.
That is great. That is great.
Yeah, so that's and then also next month I'll be doing a lunch and learn in Glendale and with Capital One.
Okay.
And then Rashonda invited me to do a lunch and learn.
Oh, at the Urban League, right?
Yes, in March.
Yes.
That's great.
Cool.
That's great. Well, we got to embrace you in our circles and get you involved with some of what we're doing as well, because most of our clients, this information that you're disseminating right here is valuable. It's priceless. So we want to keep this going. And, of course, we've got our resident forensics experts here. So with both of you at hand, it's going to be amazing. Now, we've got about 14 minutes left to go. What are some of the things you want to tell some of these small businesses that they need to know?
Good segment here. First of all, we are into tax season. So if you have not worked with Crystal all year long and you don't have your books together, it's the time to get your books together. Make sure that when you present them to your accountant, CPA, that you have a balance sheet. Make sure that you have, and we don't necessarily need that when we're doing the tax return. The main thing that we need as tax preparers is to have that profit and loss statement, because we can take a look at that and we can key that information into the system. If we need supporting documents, if your entertainment cost looks more than what they should, then we're going to question it, and we want to see the backup as to what supports $25,000 in entertainment or $25,000 in meals. But you said you didn't make it.
Didn't make anything last year, but the entertainment expense is $25,000.
And miscellaneous is $9,000.
Right, miscellaneous. What is this miscellaneous? What's in this number? Miscellaneous should not be a huge number. Right. And I know that from being an auditor. A lot of you as business owners, you just dump any and everything into miscellaneous. Be able to identify what it is. If you haven't gotten to that point where you've gotten your P&L back, start on it, work on it. if you had independent contractors, now is the time to make sure you get that information over to your tax preparer. They need a W-9 for all individuals that you paid $600 or more to for the year 2017. The deadlines have changed. They're no longer, we can get that information to the IRS in February and issue the 1099s January 31st. The dates have changed.
January 31st, isn't it?
It is January 31st, but it used to be in February.
February 3rd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
now you got to submit it by when in January?
They're due to me today.
Yeah. No, literally, if the 1099s are due January 31st, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The transmittal is due on that exact same day.
Right.
Okay.
It used to be would carry over into the first
So
week
I
or the
need
fifth.
to get-
So what that means is you need to get it to us in a timely fashion so that we can get it back to you and you can review it.
Oh, man.
We need time for you to review it, so if we need to go back in and make any changes, we can do that before we transmit that file.
Yeah, I need to get my 1099s out there right now because I got many vendors that.
So you gonna get it to me early?
I'm going to get it to you early.
Because I got it at the last moment. You gonna get it early?
I'm going to get it to you early this time.
So let me tell you this. The key to that is before you write anyone a check, make sure you have them complete the Form W-9.
Yeah, see, I
That's the
violated that
key.
rule. I violated that rule, and I will never do it again.
You playing the chasing game.
Yeah, because I have a vendor right now who I've been chasing, sending the W-9 and said, "Can you please send it?" They don't want to sign it and send it back to me. They
Right,
already
because
got
they
some
don't
money.
want to pay the taxes on it. Right. So you have to get it in advance. And those that say, "Oh, I don't want to fill this out," that's because they're not reporting the income.
So explain to me, how does this work? So this vendor, I've already paid them some money. Mm-hmm. They don't want to fill out the W-9. I still hold them some more money. Mm-hmm. So how do we do this?
Well, no, you still got to pay
how do
them.
you do that?
But you just have to.
Before we release this next check,
Yeah.
we need you to
you
sign
need
this
your
W-9.
your W-9
Otherwise,
form.
we're going to hold it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
They'll sign it then.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so what if they don't sign it? Can I hold it?
You
I
can.
can't, right?
You can. I mean, but it'll get to they'll sign it.
Okay.
Yeah, if they want their money, especially it's for
they'll
an
sign it.
amount that they're waiting for. Remember, they're contractors, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not like they're going to let somebody hold their money. So
Okay.
they'll go. Now, they have the option not to file.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to submit yours,
Yeah.
and whenever the IRS catch up with them, they'll catch up with them, right?
yeah.
But if your onus on you is just to get it to them.
Okay.
And their onus is to do whatever they're going to do on their side. Right. That's not your responsibility.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
The other thing they need to know, you all need to be, you need to know the due dates. So there are due dates for certain business structures that are due March 15th, no longer April 15th. Mm-hmm. So make sure whatever business structure you fall under, you know when the due date is.
And if you don't meet it, then you pay a penalty, late fees, and all of that.
You do. You pay a penalty. I sent in a return last year, and it wasn't my fault. It was theirs. I said, you're going to be hit with a late fee, and the IRS doesn't.
They don't
Within
care.
3 weeks.
Yeah, they don't care.
The letters
They
within
want their
2
money.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The money is the
and
letter
even
is
now
coming.
they're cracking down. I was telling Gilbert the statement of information. They used to
Yeah.
give you an opportunity to fix it.
Yeah.
Right, it's only $20,
Yeah.
but now they just
Now
like
they're
$250
now they're collecting their
if
$250.
right. So
Guess why? Because the state of California say they broke.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Right,
And
exactly.
then Trump decided because of this, what do you call it, sanctuary city, they're not going to give them their money, so they got to collect money somehow. So
Right.
Yeah,
that,
so-
that $250.
Yeah, so you got to be on top of your dates. Make sure you put it somewhere, calendar somewhere for your statement of information
Yeah.
when
Right.
it's due, because they don't always send you a notification for the statement of information.
No.
And
They
as a
don't.
nonprofit, I don't think I think
No.
I've gotten one or two.
No.
But
Actually, I do get them. I'm sorry. I do get mine.
yeah. Sometimes with nonprofit, there's been a lot of them that you just have to calendar it. Okay, this is 2 years, so 2 years
Yeah.
from now.
I think when it's a small postcard and people probably throw it away like the guy that you were working
yeah,
for.
that's probably true too.
So the other thing, what was I going to say? Oh my goodness, it just went in and out. That means I'm getting old.
Regarding the statement of information?
No, it'll come back to me.
So the corporate or business is March 15th.
Yeah.
And then the personal, I think it's the 19th or the 21st because something, the 15th lands on a Monday or
It's on a
Sunday?
Tuesday. I think it's the 17th,
Okay.
April 17th. And then the not-for-profit is due May 15th or May 17th is actually, yes.
So the 15th lands on a Sunday.
So it's the 17th, Tuesday.
Oh, really? They're not going to do the 16th, the Monday?
It's the 17th.
Really?
Yeah. That's what this morning. So we will put those dates up. I will put those on Facebook on the due dates because it's important now, especially, we're in some very interesting times right now. So I don't think you really can operate under the radar anymore.
Right.
And if you want to take your business to that next level, you really don't want to operate under the radar. You really, truly want to get yourself in a position where you're doing proper business and your structure is in place, your team is in place. Just so you can bounce some stuff off of them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really important in today's world how, as a small business, because you already got expenses, and to change your taxes and to understand. I personally was insulted when they kept saying people were going to get $900 back or $1,200. What the heck?
What can you do with that?
You going to get $10 million and I'm gonna get $1,200. There is really something wrong with the balance of that picture. I was insulted.
You got $1,200 of your own money.
Right. The other thing I want you all to do, this is for everyone. Make sure that you interview. If you're looking for a new preparer, make sure that you interview that individual. Make sure you ask for referrals. And the other thing that I tell everyone to do is to go out to ctech.org, and that's ctec.org. To find out if the person that is doing your return is legal. In California, we're supposed to register with ctech.org, and if we're not, then we are subject to a fine. And I'm sure that there's numerous individuals out there that are operating.
So you just can't, like they used to, just say, I'm going to put up my shingle and do taxes anymore.
Right.
You have to be...
If I receive money from you, then I must be certified with CTEC.
Okay.
CTEC.
And they have secret shoppers.
Secret. And is there some sort of testing that
we have to do 20 hours. Yeah, we have to do 20 hours every year.
Okay. So that's important, especially this year and next year, because that person needs to understand what's happening with the tax reform and how it affects you specifically.
Right.
Not in general, but specifically to you. So you want to make sure that that's your responsibility, is to follow up, that you got the right person. And can you get me my return overnight is not one of the qualifiers. Right. And can I get some return? And they tell you they can get you $4,000. That is not the qualifier,
right? Or even if you go to an office and you see a lot of people just outside lined up, that's a red flag. I've heard too many horror stories. So just do your homework and remember, before you allow them to electronically file your return. Even if you need to make sure that you understand what's in their return, because once they hit the button, the letter's coming to you. You're responsible, not that tax preparer. Exactly. Although we can be fined for certain things if we fraudulently put information into a return, or if we do something, erroneously on purpose, then we can be fined.
Erroneously on purpose.
I like that.
Erroneously on purpose.
That sounds just like that alternative fact. It sounds just like that. So
fake news.
So we got 4 more minutes to go. Is there anything else you want to tell? Did you give them your phone number or anything like that?
Sure. Let me do this. I'll leave you all with my website, and you can go to the website. There's two. The tax website is www.whitetaxservices.com, or you can go to our corporate office, our corporate website, which is myfinancialhome.com. If you go to myfinancialhome.com, you'll see all the services that we offer.
And then I'll put it in the description of the YouTube.
Great.
And when I send it out, I'll be blasting it. And I'll send this copy to you as well.
Great.
So you can utilize that on your websites. Recycling Black Dollars has a breakfast mixer on Tuesday, which is January 10th at 8 o'clock in the morning at the Denny's on Crenshaw. Along with the same vein, we're going to have a number of other tax professionals that will be at the meeting talking about tax reform bill. So you want to come out to the breakfast mixer for Recycling Black Dollars. What else we got going on?
We've got our mastermind coming up.
And our mastermind's on the 17th. So that's the We got 2 more classes or 2 more group meetings on the group that's in, and then we're going to start marketing for February for the next mastermind group. So will you be one of the next 10 that we are going to select to fast track you to get your certifications?
And on this class on the 17th, we're going to go over a certification application with the City of Los Angeles. It will be the SLB, Small Local Business Certification. Very easy certification. It's a 1-page document, and there are 3 documents that you need, supporting documents you need to provide. We'll go over that in class. And once we're done with that, then we'll also help you to enroll with the State of California Department of General Services certification. So please attend this class on the 17th. It starts at 4 o'clock from 4 to 6 at the LA Urban League. What's the address, Crystal?
4701
Crenshaw. 4701 Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles. That's where this class will be held, at the LA Urban League from 4 to 6.
Right. So now we want to ask you guys to go to our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you will get notification every time we upload. And we're trying to get to 100. It has taken, we've been on the air for 16 months, and I tell you, we can't get 100 subscribers. That's just sad.
Come on, small businesses. That's
I know pitiful. More than 100 people.
Yeah.
Like that's in my immediate database. What the heck?
We are here providing you all this free information, and you cannot subscribe. Come on.
Come on, guys. We need you to subscribe.
We're going to have to start charging you guys.
Right, exactly. Yeah, from here on out, Gilbert and I will charge you $400 every time y'all ask us a question. I bet you that'll get you to subscribe.
That's your new tax bill.
Right.
So we really want to thank our very, very special guest here today, Miss Cozette White, and she's just phenomenal. I'm learning so much from her right now. Can't wait to go to her next class. So Crystal and I, we really, really appreciate having her on the Business Zone today. And for those of you who are just tuning in, just remember the Business Zone is a platform where entrepreneurship comes together with supply diversity contract providers to provide opportunities, business readiness, contract readiness opportunities for you and your small business so you can become successful. We help to guide and coach and mentor you guys. So please tune in to this show every Friday from 3 to 5. And the phone number here is 323-293-3375, Crystal.
And you can also now check us out. We will be broadcasting on WeHo TV, Channel 36, once a month on Wednesday at 5:30. And it also will broadcast on AT&T UVerse, Channel 99. So the Business Zone is moving on up.
Moving on up. And just remember, I'm a businessman. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
So that's going to take us out, and we'll go into Gilly Buchanan singing his song.
And we're out.
Have a great weekend.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Got my capability statement, yes, I'm ready to go. Got my balance sheet, my P&L, my statement of cash flow. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just review the pages of my marketing plan. Got my capability statement, yes, I'm ready to go. Got my balance sheet, my P&L, my statement of cash flow. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. entrepreneur.